injury attorneys at The Advocates can't actually prevent you from being in a cycling accident, they will be by your side to support you following your accident. Our legal services won't cost you a dime out of pocket. So when you need an injury attorney, call us. We're The Advocates, your Utah personal injury attorneys. You didn't deserve to be in an accident, but you do deserve an advocate.
What did you broke it?
Hit the button.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
I have a townhouse now. I'm a big deal.
The Monty Show. Good morning. Off to a flying start. Much like you. Hope you are well. Hope you're having a great Tuesday, June 4th. May the 4th be with you. On the Monty Show, presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Man, be careful if you're on a motorcycle, and there's always tight spaces in motorcycles. You see it every day on the roads here in the great state of Utah, and wherever you may be joining us. If you've been in an accident riding your motorcycle, make sure you get to the motorcycle experts at theadvocates.com. Please give motorcycles more space. Please move over. Please keep an eye in your mirrors for those guys on two wheels. And when something happens, because it will, get to theadvocates.com, where you can chat with an injury attorney live online 24/7, 365. And it won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. Good Tuesday to you. I almost want to spin and talk about how many carpet fibers are in the studio this morning instead of going to this Caitlin Clark topic.
This has disaster written all over it.
It does. We didn't talk about it in our vaunted pre-show meeting. Jake is in quite a bit of a crabby mood this morning.
I knew today would be shitty.
And so... I was sitting here putting the show together alone by myself. And that's the Caitlin Clark theme song. I don't know if you guys know this. Chennedy Carter this is her favorite song and stuff. This Caitlin Clark topic is going to be, I just know where this is going to go.
Right.
And it always comes back to this idea that we as men cannot have an open and honest discussion about anything that has to do with a woman, boobs, or sports combined. We just can't have level-headed conversations. Then you put a woman with boobs in a sport and guys melt down. And I think that's exactly what's happening with Caitlin Clark. I don't know how you explain the fervor, the heat, over a rookie basketball player who, and I know this is controversial. I know this is going to freak people out. Caitlin Clark is not being treated differently than any other rookie in pretty much any other league.
What?
Hard fouls, physical basketball. That's what basketball is. As a child of the 80s, I grew up with the Knicks, the Pacers, the Bulls, and the Pistons. This is not physical basketball. Did Chennedy Carter cross the line? Sure she did. Should she be, run out of the league? No. Should she be suspended? No. Should she get a flagrant foul? Yes. It's as simple as that, and now it's over. But we want to make it into this thing where, Caitlin Clark, I don't know if you guys know this, but Caitlin Clark has boobies. Oh, my God, protect her. She doesn't need our protection. She doesn't need all of this outside noise that she is getting simply because she's a female who plays basketball. We didn't give two rips about the WNBA until April when she showed up. And you look at all this controversy, and I will maintain again, it's dudes who can't handle women being the headliner in sports. I truly think that's what this is. Because on the floor, Caitlin Clark is getting exactly what she has deserved and exactly what she's earned, which is zero respect. Anything she did at Iowa was at Iowa, and it has nothing to do with the WNBA. I know that's shocking, and I know that bothers people, but what Caitlin Clark did at Iowa has absolutely no bearing on what she's doing with Indiana, which is losing a lot, not being good often, not contributing, not being an elite basketball player in the WNBA. That's the reality of who Caitlin Clark is. But we can't handle that. And we want to treat her with kid gloves, and we gotta protect Caitlin Clark, and we can't have people fouling her. Foul Caitlin Clark? What? She's our girl. That's the issue. She's not our girl. She's just a player in the WNBA. And I think people really struggle normalizing somebody like Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any way to measure stardom. I think Caitlin Clark's struggle, and I think, people struggle with talking about Caitlin Clark is, if you look at just the stardom and all the reaction and the media coverage, and it's like, hey, I love the assertion, we've never seen anything like this in sports. It's crazy to me. We see this all the time in sports. We see people who go crazy at the college level in their given sport and then translate to the league. And in my opinion, is she's going to be just fine in the WNBA. Yeah. It's a rookie season. She's figuring it out. She's going to be just fine. But we see this all the time where someone will go crazy at the college, like with quarterbacks all the time. Oh, he's an incredible Tim Tebow, incredible college quarterback. Might have been the best college quarterback we've ever seen by some people's standards. And then gets to the league and can't do anything. Now, the difference, obviously, is with Caitlin Clark is that she was such a phenomenon in the tournament. I don't know, like Jimmer Fredette was. How about the Jimmer? You ever heard of that dude who lit it up in college and couldn't do a damn thing in the NBA? We've seen this effect before. The only difference this time is that she's female and that it's the WNBA. And that's where I agree. Like, I feel like there are a lot of pundits out there and a lot of people talking about her who can't handle it because she's a female and it's the WNBA. If we just said, hey, college star is getting her ass beat at the professional level physically in a rookie season, we were like, yeah, that's kind of what it is. You're a rookie, you're a freshman. Like, that's what it is. Like, people are going to be physical with you and see how far you're willing to let it go, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
And she's the best player on the other team that doesn't have a second best player. And of course, she is going to be the number one focus of opposing defenses. That's basketball. I don't think on the floor that Caitlin Clark is being treated unfairly. I don't think she's being bullied. I don't think she's being targeted. Welcome to professional sports. That's what this is. Now, you want to talk about what's going on in the media? Okay, that's quite a bit different. You want to talk about what happened with Pat McAfee yesterday? Okay, that's quite a bit different. And I don't know. I have no idea what Pat McAfee was thinking. I truly have no idea. If this was just Pat McAfee riffing, if this was just Pat talking off the top of his head, but this is one of the moments in time where I look at an issue that's happened on ESPN and it has transcended the sports world. And I want you to listen to this clip and ask yourself, did Pat McAfee make a mistake here?
So I think what we're trying to say is what the WNBA currently has is what we like to describe as a cash cow. There is a superstar. And we're not saying that the players on the court need to act any differently. That's the athletes are going to do what athletes are going to do in any sport. And I think we're all learning that WNBA, that's old school football, baby. That is old school football. But I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white bitch for the Indiana team who is a superstar. And is it because she stayed in Iowa, put an entire state on her back, took a program from nothing to a multiple-year success story?
First of all, That you cannot call, you should not call any woman that. The B word to me is unconscionable. There is no, and everybody yesterday was like, well, Monty, you got to put it in context. There's no context.
Come on.
It doesn't matter. If you believe that what Pat McAfee did there was okay, I'm not sure what you're thinking, because we're trying to have a conversation about a woman playing professional basketball, and what's the first thing we do? We go to a stereotype and use that word. I think it's a heinous word. I think it is there with the C word. I think it is when you refer to a woman like that, I think it is the worst of the worst.
Right.
But again, it's guys talking about women in sports. So why are we surprised by this? Why are we surprised by this? Why are we surprised that Pat issued an apology, and in his apology, Pat McAfee said that everything else he said was factually accurate.
Yeah, and I think that we've seen this behavior out of Pat before, where you're going to say something, and we're going to have a conversation about Pat and ESPN in a minute. But the thing that bothers me about Pat, just the way they do business, and I'm not going to throw the blame on everybody there, because this is Pat's show, it's his responsibility, and it's his decision. But it really bothers me that this behavior continues. Hey, we're gonna do a topic. We're gonna say something that we shouldn't say. We know we shouldn't say it, but we're gonna go ahead and say it. And then we're gonna do this whole thing where we're gonna use X, or we're gonna use some type of excuse on the show to apologize, and then everything's fine as if you didn't say it and if you didn't embarrass ESPN once again.
And the worst part about this is he's completely wrong about Iowa women's basketball. Any cursory search would have told you that. Caitlin Clark, in no way, shape, or form put Iowa basketball on the map. That's just, they've been to the tournament 10 of the last 12 years, including an Elite Eight. There was Iowa basketball before Caitlin Clark. Did she raise their public profile? Sure she did. Did she bring more eyes to the TV? Sure she did. But much to Jake's point, so did Jimmer Fredette. This is not Jimmer Fredette putting BYU basketball on the map. It's just, you can't call her the B word and then apologize for it on Twitter. And then not only did you apologize for it on Twitter, hashtag journalism.
Which is just so bothersome, because you're not a journalist.
You're not a journalist at all. And again, and I think there is a discussion to be had about where Pat McAfee fits in at ESPN. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. There's no spinning. There's no, I meant it as a compliment. If you meant it as a compliment and you have no problem with what you said, why are you apologizing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't make this mistake with dudes. Oh, that's right. We only make this mistake when we're talking about women.
Yeah, because we don't want to call dudes the B word. We don't want to.
That's really insulting.
We don't have, we quite literally don't have descriptors like this for men. He used a word that is derogatory and puts women down, and then wants to say, oh, well, I'm sorry, I meant it in a positive way. And then to your point, oh, well, Monty, it's all context and it was positive. Yeah. And I heard a million times and saw it all over Twitter yesterday. The way Pat used this is the equivalent of someone saying, hey, you're a bad MFer, which I completely disagree with. There is no, they're not even comparable, dude. This word is so negative when you use it towards a woman. And I tend to agree with you.
And the word before it, when you bring race into the conversation, what does that have to do with anything? I wish I understood why we as men just can't have normal conversations about women and female athletes.
Why can't we just say, yeah, she was a college sensation. She played the game a different way than most college athletes do, men or women, doesn't really matter, because I got news for you. On the men's side, I don't see a Steph Curry in this year's tournament. Were there 3 shot? Yes, but I don't see a player who's living and dying on the 3 and doing it the way that she did it. So I'm not really concerned whether it's male or female. I'm concerned that she was a star during her time in college. She carried her team consistently during her time. And by the way, she helped the overall sport.
But the thing, again, I'm not even trying to be a jerk about it. She's pretty average in the WNBA right now.
Yeah.
She's not spectacular. She's not. And these hard fouls, like the Chennedy Carter play, okay, that's a dirty play. There was a point being proven there. But Angel Reese had the exact same situation happen this week, and nobody said 2 words about it. Nobody said 2 words about it. And it's because it's Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, and I truly do believe that people thought that she needed to be protected. She doesn't need to be protected. Those fouls are not that egregious.
Well, and I think that the thing is like, I don't necessarily disagree that her teammates should be showing up for her more just in a basketball sense. Like, because you're exactly right. She is the best player on your team right now. And you guys just simply are not a very good team.
And getting the most attention from the other team.
Yeah.
Like there was this Stephen A. Smith, Monica McNutt argument that was all over Twitter yesterday. And the part of the argument was, well, she's the 3rd most fouled player in the WNBA. Okay. She's the only attention of the defense. She's the only one that they have to worry about. So she's going to get doubled. And when she scores, people are going to try and send a message. And what you said was, there's no enforcer there. There's nobody to say, hey, you're not going to do that. There was no hard foul against Chennedy Carter in retort.
Well, and if you look at that specific play, her teammate is standing right there trying to inbound it to her. Carter comes over, knocks over Caitlin, and her teammate does nothing about it. I mean, again, like, I'm not a big Matt Barnes guy, but for once in his life, he said something that I thought was pretty reasonable, which was, hey, dude, like, my job was to protect the best player on the team. That was it. Like, I wasn't some amazing player. Like, I could shoot it just a bit, like, just good enough to be in the league. But my job was to go out there and get in people's faces when they wanted to get handsy with Kobe or Chris Paul or whoever the guy was on my team. And they don't have that person on Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever team. And so now we want to say, oh, well, she's like all over ESPN today already and yesterday. Oh, Caitlin Clark is being treated differently than any other rookie I've ever seen. Well, if that's your opinion, that's fine.
But what other rookies have you seen? Because this is not abnormal.
Yeah. Like I'm looking in the NBA and I'm like, yeah, dude, like there's a million guys who've come into the league and gotten their ass beat. There's a million guys Kobe, right? Everyone said, oh, well, Kobe's not going to be anything. He was terrible his first year. Got fouled a bunch. Like, he ain't going to be nothing.
Couldn't hit a 3.
He overcame it. Like, I'm just telling you, man, Caitlin Clark is nothing special in the sense that she's getting fouled in a rookie season on a terrible team. Like, you see it all the time.
And again, it's just because it's guys who don't watch the WNBA who are looking at this like, holy cow, wow. This is not abnormal. Now, I don't watch the WNBA on a regular basis. I still don't watch the WNBA on a regular basis. It's not for me. I don't enjoy it. I am not. If Caitlin Clark is on and I happen to see it on, I might watch for 5 minutes. But it's not, to me, it's not compelling.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to sit here and call her the B word. I'm also not going to sit here and get on ESPN and espouse like Stephen A. Smith does that he's a WNBA expert and have Monica McNutt say to him, you weren't talking about the WNBA before she got here. You weren't talking about the WNBA 3 years ago, which is exactly right. Yeah. Nobody gave a damn about this league, largely, unless something spectacular happens. So unless we have one of your best players in the league arrested in Russia, unless Caitlin Clark shows up as a sensation.
Unless Diana Taurasi is at the end of her
and
career.
Still, nobody cares about that.
Right.
Nobody cares about the Sue Bird stuff. Like, nobody's paid attention to this league. Caitlin Clark is transformational at the WNBA level in that one respect. She brings a lot of people's eyes to the TV. She's not a great basketball player right now. That will change. She will evolve and get better. But I'm telling you, this entire Caitlin Clark debate is because she's a woman. And I do agree that some of this is because she's a white woman. I do agree that some of this is because people believe that there was no college basketball ever played on the women's side before Caitlin Clark strapped it on at Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And so we play on stereotypes. So I go back to this Pat McAfee thing. Pat McAfee has no idea about the WNBA.
Well, and I think that was one of the bigger problems that he faced yesterday when he said this stuff. Like, dude, like, and I've said this about Pat's show for years, like going back a minute. Like, if he's not talking NFL, he is not credible. He does
Correct.
not understand dynamics. He doesn't understand the inner workings of sport. Like, he just is the bro trying to fit into the conversation. And again, this is, him doing a piece, and he takes this tact all the time on many different topics where he just wants to like positive, and he takes it too far. He tries to say something, I feel like, to get people's attention. And this is yet another mistake. And again, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, when Pat and ESPN split, because that will happen at some point. I don't know when.
And it will be ugly.
Yeah, it's going to happen at some point. The ledger of, hey, Pat said all this dumbass stuff, and this is what it took to get rid of him, is going to be historic.
But I also asked this about what he said yesterday. He was talking about how the league needs to protect Caitlin Clark. Did you really think that the league is going to tell every other player on the court with her, hey, yeah, we're going to need to let her score a lot. If you could not play defense, that'd be great. And do you really think Kennedy Carter's not gonna try and do you know who the hell Kennedy Carter is? No, neither do I. Now I have no idea. I did not know that there was somebody named Kennedy Carter before Caitlin Clark got fouled the other night. Did you really think that Kennedy Carter was just going to be like, yeah, why don't you go ahead and just roll out to the corner there, shoot some threes? We're going to, the defense on Caitlin Clark, no.
Nah, we'll lose this game. We'll win tomorrow night.
We got to let her do well. Did you really think they weren't going to try and defend her? Pat McAfee yesterday is talking about how the league needs to protect her. No, they don't. Her team, yes, they do. Herself, yes, she does. The WNBA, no, they don't.
And this
no, they don't.
Dude, this can't work both ways. So, like in the NBA, we celebrate LeBron when he's physical with people. When people try to foul him and he works through that. So we love the physicality in the NBA. We loved the Jordan rules. We loved, hey, Kobe getting after dudes. We loved that. But now, because Caitlin Clark hasn't figured it out yet, we're sitting here saying she needs protection at the highest level. And I'm simply saying, I agree with you. She doesn't need protection. What she needs is to develop. What she needs
learn and grow.
Dude, she needs to get her ass in the weight room a little bit, and then she needs to mentally accept the fact that the WNBA is not the college level. The WNBA is essentially a physical basketball league, and you're not going to be able to run around and just shoot threes all day.
I am shocked. I don't know why I'm shocked. I guess I'm just shocked sitting here thinking about this, and it's because she's a woman.
Yeah.
And why do we as men have so much trouble looking at people like Caitlin Clark and we can't see anything but body parts and sexual activity?
Yeah, this has U.S. Women's National Team written all over it.
Like, I'm amazed by it.
Like, this has, women's MMA written all over it, right? Like, this has whatever, with female golf, the Lexi Thompson thing, right? Where people are like criticizing her and saying that she's a 1%er. Like it's all the same, dude. Oh, it's a woman in sports. Like, yeah, we're really going to struggle to give this fair coverage, like reasonable, coverage. And I don't understand why it's such a struggle. Like it baffles me. And I only criticize Pat because he's the one who made the mistake yesterday, but I don't know why. dudes like Pat who have his platform, have his opportunity, have his resources, why can't you just have a reasonable conversation about it? Why does it need to turn into
because
this thing,
he's
man?
preparing? Like yesterday is a great example. Where was Pat McAfee last night? Well, based on his Twitter feed, he was doing professional wrestling last night. So he was preparing for professional wrestling. Pat McAfee, I'm going to guess, and I'm probably wrong. I'd like to think I'm wrong. I doubt I am. I'm going to guess that he's watched, even with Caitlin Clark, very few WNBA games. And I think the one thing I know I am correct about, Pat McAfee's just a bro who's got a huge platform, who was not prepared to talk about Caitlin Clark yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And he got exposed. And we say this all the time on the show. Having worked at places like ESPN, having worked at Sporting News, having worked at Fox Sports, having been on the largest sports radio stations in this country, you do not talk off the top of your head. And I feel like that's what Pat McAfee did yesterday. But I also think that ESPN has to hold him to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And you can mix this into the comment section if you like. I think at some point ESPN has to take a stand on this stuff, because I think it's a really important point before I go into this. Pat McAfee does not work for ESPN. You need to understand this.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee is a contractor, essentially. He's a 1099 guy. They pay him a lump sum of money. He does his show. They have zero, and I mean zero, editorial control or input on his show. None. They do not tell him what to say. They do not have the right to tell him what to say or how to say it. And it's what the rub at ESPN is, because you can go back in time and you can point to the Jamil Hills of the world or the Rachel Nichols of the world or all these controversies. Well, they were so controversial because ESPN had their thumb on those people. And Jamil Hill said, no, I'm going to say what I want to say or I'm not going to be here. Pat McAfee has nowhere else to go. Pat McAfee has burned bridges everywhere he's been. If you look at from Barstool to FanDuel to, there's always a problem. And you knew this when you brought him to ESPN. And he has been a massive headache for them. Like internally, he has caused strife behind the scenes. There is frustration. There is a disappointment in the fact that the people inside ESPN, and you're going to wind up saying they're jealous, whatever. The people that work at ESPN take that job really seriously. And I go back to his apology tweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I would point out to you that journalism hashtag is not an accident, because the people that work inside of ESPN are in fact journalists, and they take it as their life's work. You look at guys like Scott Van Pelt. You look at guys that work around guys like Scott Van Pelt. You look at the people that produce shows like, their NBA product is life and death. Adrian Wojnarowski, it's life and death that he is accurate. And when he is not, it is seismic, because he very rarely is inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys live with it every single day.
Journalistic standard.
The guys on ESPN radio, having been there, whether it's a pronunciation, I can tell you, I tweeted something on a Saturday night before I went on ESPN radio. I got a phone call from my boss about a typo in a tweet on ESPN. I tweeted it. I got a phone call saying, hey, there's a typo hey, this is your boss. There's a typo in your tweet. Can you please delete that? Because that's how seriously they take being accurate. So this hashtag of journalism from Pat McAfee was not accidental. And I think it is this inability to get along with others.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there is you're either a Pat McAfee fan at ESPN or you are not. And I think most of the people inside of ESPN are not.
Well, and I think it's because Pat's style is very against the grain of the ESPN way. And I think that the ESPN way is, very professional, very process oriented, and like you said, there's a very high standard, as there should be, right?
Yes.
You're the worldwide leader in sports. There is a standard, and you're either meeting it or you're not. And I don't care if you're in a W-2 or a 1099. If you're going to have a relationship with ESPN, there is a baseline of standards. There's a baseline of quality that you have to meet. And this is, if you were to ask someone at ESPN, a head honcho, let's say, or whatever, someone in management, I think they would say that, we may, bring in revenue on Pat's show, but I'm not so sure that they're profitable on Pat's show yet.
They are not.
And I think that Pat is not helping ESPN the way that I think that everybody was kind of sold that he would. And I do feel like these type of moments add up, which is why I said earlier, there will be a ledger, and there is a ledger being kept of all the dumb things and all the mistakes and all the unprofessional stuff that has been said. And unfortunately, that's the business. Like, I can tell you, like, obviously, I've been on the radio once before. Like, you can't say dumb stuff on the radio. Like, you can't, say whatever the hell you want. Like, we get asked all the time. Like, we'll get calls and, people reach out to us. Well, why do you guys curse so much on YouTube? Or, like, how do you handle that? And it's like, well, YouTube's not FCC regulated. The radio is. ESPN is. Yet you think because you're on YouTube streaming to ESPN that doesn't apply to you. And it's insane to me because Pat could literally do this thing for the next 30 years, draw a paycheck, and ride off into the sunset, even though he probably financially already is. My point is, you can have it really easy. It's all there for you, and you can't get out of the way.
And I think at some point, and I'm sure they will, ESPN is a sales organization that does sports. At some point, they will make money on him. At some point. That point is not now. And I think that if I had to guess, at some point that relationship will end. And I think he likely just goes back to YouTube, but it's so much work. And we've talked about this as well. The reason he's at ESPN is because it's so much work to do your own thing. It is arduous. It is effort. It is because at the end of the day, you're responsible for making sure people can pay their rent. And Pat talked about the fact that was just too much.
Yeah.
And now he's got ESPN, he's got Game Day, he's got WWE, like he's got all this stuff he's doing. You wonder at what point, when does all that change? Because he's also now a dad. So it'll be interesting to see. There is always going to be a place for Pat in sports talk because I think he is the face of sports talk in this country. Well,
yeah.
I mean, he says that about Caitlin Clark, and the world comes to an end. That was a big story yesterday.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think all press is good press, but you can't tell me that everybody and their brother is not watching because they are. Pat McAfee has a massive audience, and he has worked hard to build that. I think it's just and
there are a lot of days where Pat's show is great, where they, they put on a good product, but I don't know. I'll continue to say on Pat's show, I do think that they need to be just a little bit more, hey, like, we're going to talk sports and like, we're going to do it in a way that is really solid. And yes, have fun and like do what you do. Like, I'm all for that. But like, can we just not use white B to describe Caitlin Clark? Can we not roll out with ridiculous, stuff with Aaron Rodgers? Can we just avoid like the?
Well, it's funny you brought that up. A buddy of mine last night was texting with me about the Aaron Rodgers thing.
Yeah,
and he was saying that's where Pat McAfee lost him with the Aaron Rodgers stuff, and then Pat had to apologize for that. That's where I think some people got off the Pat train. I don't know. From what I understand, Pat's show has not dipped in any way, shape, or form from its expected numbers. It clearly has a much larger fan base during the football season. But I don't know that Pat has the universal appeal he once did. I think it's a really interesting. I don't watch Pat nearly as much as I used to. And it's crazy to say, Jim Rome being on Twitter, dude, that's called the easy button.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I watch all of my stuff digitally. I think I've told you guys this. I don't have cable. I don't have Dish or DirecTV anymore. I watch YouTube TV. And I usually watch that on an iPad. And with Jim Rome on X he broadcasts his radio show on X every day now. It's really easy. And I think it's worked pretty well.
Well, and I think the cool thing with that, and we experienced this with Pat, right? Where Pat had, he's getting all these views and everything. And I know it's X, and, take it with a grain of salt. Some people don't trust the numbers.
Now porn is legal on X.
Yeah. So there's been some interesting stories on X this week. But Jim's been getting between 700 and 1 million views a show on X. According to there's a little, you can see it on our feed if you're on X. There's a little ticker.
Hundreds of viewers.
Yeah, right. So, I just think it's really fascinating because Jim is also an acquired taste, right? He's got his own unique style that, burns people out. They got to leave and then they come back and they really enjoy it. And then they leave it but I think that, Jim has been able to build his career by not saying things like this yesterday, right? Like Jim talked about Caitlin Clark in a way that was professional and worked like he did. And I have to say, and obviously Jim's been doing it for a long ass time now, 30 years or whatever the hell it's been. But there's a certain professional standard with his show, whether you agree with his style or not. You know what you can expect.
You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You understand. Yes. Like on Pat's show,
it's different every day.
It is.
You don't know. It's almost like, hey, what's the crazy thing that's going to get said today? What is the outlandish, disrespectful something that's going to get said today? And that's really a shame because shows like Pat are the future of sports talk. And that's what nobody wants to say about Pat's show. His show, while it is the now, it's also the future, right? That's why Jim went to X, right? Because Jim said, hey, CBS Sports Network's not really getting it done for me anymore. Nobody really watches it. So let's find them where they are. And all of a sudden, what do you have? You've got 1 million views, 700,000 views. That's where we're headed. Yeah. But there's a crazy discrepancy in responsibility of these people doing these shows. And you see it play out on stuff like Caitlin Clark every single time.
Yeah. It's interesting. And now I lost the notification, but 4 people have been filtered today already.
Oh, God.
And we almost never have filtered comments on this show. We've kind of trained the funnel down.
Yeah.
The algorithm and the AI on YouTube. We've kind of is it any coincidence we're talking about Caitlin Clark and Pat McAfee and 4 people have gotten filtered?
No, it's not.
It's not.
People get pissy about it.
All right. The comment section, as always, make sure you hit the like button if you're watching on X. Hello, Twitter. Good morning to you. Appreciate you guys. Come on over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. If you are on YouTube, please hit the like button. We appreciate that. I see a bunch of comments coming in from Facebook this morning. So hello to everybody watching on the Monty Show Facebook page. Appreciate you. The comment section, as always, is presented by our good friends at Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com. Download the app. It's the easiest way to play Prize Picks. I'm on a heater right now, and I love how easy it is to win on Prize Picks. Jake is not intelligent. He is not winning on Prize Picks.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, I probably have a better chance to win if I just go Call of Duty today than I would if I, did golf or, WNBA.
Well, it's interesting. I've now passed, which is pretty cool. I've now passed the $5,000 winning marker, which is pretty neat. I'm pretty happy about that. I've won 57 times. Now, I've also lost 30-something times, but I have a pretty good win percentage on Prize Picks, and that's what I love about it. It doesn't take much of your money to play. You deposit $5, they'll give you $5 more. They'll match your deposit 100%, up to $100 when you use the promo code Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, Monty. I love this time of year because you get the NBA playoffs. Jason Tatum. You want to talk about an easy, and if you're not a prize pick person, now's the time to do it. Jason Tatum. They're giving you a freebie on both Derek Lively and Jason Tatum are half a point. Derek Lively is also half an assist.
Mm-hmm.
But Jason Tatum's the easy one. His usual number is 27.5. Right now, he is half a point. And it's super easy. If you look at the Prize Picks interaction, like the interface, that's all you have to do. You see like, okay, here's Jason Tatum. I'm going to click more, and that's it. And all you have to do is I use 3. I have a tried and true formula that some people don't follow. Make 3 selections, play a $20 flex pick. That's my whole thing.
Yeah.
$20 flex play, which means I only have to get 2 or 3 right to win. And usually your minimum win is you put 20 up, you get 31.25. You get all 3, you get $56. So it's easily doubling your money. I'm telling you guys, prizepicks.com, the only thing you have to do is more or less. That's it. Jason Tatum, half a point in game 1. I'm going to take more on that because I'm going to win. Exactly right.
Yes.
Hook it up, prizepicks.com. Let's get you your comments this morning, and I see a lot of you in already. Let me go way back to the top because I always like to shout out the early ones that are first in. Mountain Mama, first one in today. Tear It Down Tuesday. Hit the like button.
Well, we've already got 4 people filtered, so I think we're well on our way.
OG Gary, saw dudes.
Saw dude.
And then the saw dude comes in and says, I'm the saw dude guy, damn it, Gary. You know. Big Daddy Magic, who my dude is aggressive lately on social media. Like, relax. I would like to apologize to every single BYU fan.
Oh,
There we
got
go.
it.
I'm sorry for my behavior, and BYU women are very lovely ladies.
Don't lie to me.
Says the guy making ketchup packet references to women. Thanks, dude. I love you, BDM, but come on, bro.
Lopes fan Gabe, good morning to you. Hello, my longtime Phoenician. Like button casual is exactly right. Let's see. It's Tuesday. If Victor had a taco named after, it would be the best taco in the business.
That's pretty much self-explanatory.
Hello, Matt Ritson. Hello, Aaron Wilson. Hello, Stepanik. Hope you're doing well. Dakota Tubbs.
Tubinsky.
Don't assume my problems, Monty. I won't. My bad. My bad. Who cares about the WNBA, though? It feels forced. Okay. Are we getting the WNBA thrown down our gullies at this point?
I mean, I think that ESPN's always here for a good story. That's their job. So, yeah, I mean, I think on some level, you also have to understand ESPN obviously has, the WNBA on their network. So, yeah, I think ESPN's going to cover the hell out of this. I also think that again, the WNBA is, of course, a female sport. And for that reason, when there's something to talk about, there's going to be a lot more vitriol in it.
Yep, at a very slow time of year. Jeremiah Champion retorts with, maybe for you, I'm currently trying to find a WNBA team to follow. So, and I think we've seen a lot of that. I think I have seen more guys engage with the WNBA than at any time in the past. I mean, it's huge on Prize Picks. I'll tell you that. It is. Yeah. It's growing in prominence. And I think it's a nice filler in between the 3 weeks off between every NBA Finals game that we're going to get. Right? Good Lord.
And the Stanley Cup final.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's such a long plane flight. Can we stop making a big deal about how far Edmonton is from Florida? Like, it's a plane flight. Take a nap.
Uh-huh.
You were enthralled by that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it matters. I think if you have an hour plane flight, that's different than 5 hours or whatever it is.
Aaron Wilson says, I start my mail academy today. MAIL. Are you going to be a mailman? That's awesome. Way to go, dude. Aaron is going postal today. He said it, folks. Relax. Kay Sumbry, hello. Mr. Preston, hello. How are you, sir? Steve Stepanik says, clean your lawn clippings off the road for motorcycles. Okay. Okay.
Another guy that's just been a little aggressive lately.
Noel Ramirez, I'm convinced Clark will be the cause of World War III. You joke, but it feels like she is. It feels like Caitlin Clark is a lightning rod. There's no other way to say it. Jeremiah Champion, they changed the name from Twitter to X, then actually started allowing porn. Yeah, they did. Did you guys see that the board of directors at Tesla is going to vote to remove Elon Musk this week? Tomorrow, I believe it is. I'm very curious to see if he survives. UW fan Jim Romadunze, hello. The Monty Show is the future. Hit the like button. Well, we've talked about this with the Pat McAfees of the world and the Jim Romes. Like, this show won't go on forever. Right? Like we were talking about this yesterday. We were trying to plan a golf getaway. It's like, well, yeah, we can't take a week off here because we have the show. And this show would be so much simpler if we didn't have the advertisers we have. But how do you do a show like this without community partnerships with the advocates, let's say? So it's this double-edged sword. It is, I'm telling you, I'm not crying poor or, oh, poor me. I'm not at all, but it's not easy to get up every day at 4 o'clock.
It's a pain in the ass.
I got up today at 4 o'clock and I was like, God damn, I've been asleep for 15 minutes.
Yeah, man.
You know, like it's not the easiest thing in the world.
And I also think that, again, like the difference between shows like ours and shows like Pat's or Jim's or, other shows out there that we all know and love that have been around forever is that they've been around forever and they have huge platforms. And Pat has always has built his platform on being a firecracker. And
well, that's true.
I just think that Pat, it's an unrealistic ask. It's
how bad is what he said?
Oh, I think it's pretty bad. It's not bad on the level of a racial slur or
certainly not.
It's not like the worst of the worst, but I do think that it crossed the line, and I do think that it obviously, like his apology tweet, and this is how I've always felt about Pat's apologies. He does half-ass apologies. I don't feel like he's actually sorry. Like
my intention was saying it were complimentary, just like the entire segment. But a lot of folks are saying that it certainly wasn't at all. So it's not that you realize what you said was a derogatory term. It's some people took it the wrong way.
Yeah, you're getting heat and pushed down, so you had to issue an apology. We get it, Pat.
That's 100% on me, and for that I apologize. I've sent an apology to Caitlin as well.
Cool. We're checking boxes. And the reason I say it's checking boxes is because it doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel heartfelt. It feels like, ESPN was upset about that, and a lot of folks are criticizing me. Yeah, I probably should issue an apology. And that's why I say, dude, for someone, like, put yourself in the shoes of, someone who's not plugged into sports the way you guys listening are, the way we are. Someone who maybe watches football during the season, but they're engrossed in life. But they see this Pat McAfee story and like, wow, he called Caitlin Clark a white bee. Why would he do that? Like, it's a bad look.
It's a bad look.
Average Joe.
But I also don't think that he should be canceled. Like, there's this whole thing with what's his name?
Alex Jones.
And Alex Jones and his fans say he's being canceled.
Infowars.com.
Because a bankruptcy judge is likely going to order him to sell off all of his physical assets, including his radio or TV thing. And he got a 2-week extension yesterday. That's not being canceled. You said harmful, hurtful things about people, and you lost billions of dollars because of it.
And now you're in bankruptcy, and to pay for that bankruptcy, you have to liquidate.
Pat McAfee, on a regular basis, says things that should not be said about people in classes. Does that mean he should be fired from ESPN? I think Pat doesn't belong on ESPN. Should ESPN fire Pat McAfee? I don't think they should fire Pat. But at some point, you're going to have to put him in a box.
Yep.
And if that is just on their YouTube channel, if that is just on their ESPN app, wherever it ends up, you cannot allow Pat McAfee to continue to do the things that he is doing on ESPN TV.
Well, and
it's no longer good enough.
I love the assertion, and this is where this is kind of the, the business of the business, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I love the assertion that people are like, oh, well, he's a 1099. He can do whatever the hell he wants. And while that might be mostly true, if ESPN woke up tomorrow and said, we don't want Pat on the network anymore, Pat wouldn't be on the network anymore. And I don't give a damn what that contract says. They will find a way to get out of it or to put it to bed or do what they need to do. Because, and that's the message I impart on guys like Pat who say whatever the hell they want to say. And it's why I have respect for dudes like Jim Rome. It's why I, why I go on runs with Jim Rome, where I'll listen to him every day for like 3 weeks, and then I won't listen to him for a month. Because I respect him. I love the way he does the show, but his show sometimes wears me out. But at least with his show, I'm like, yeah, you know what?
I'm not going to get a racist, misogynist bomb.
Like you may be doing the dumbass random interview that I have no interest in. Okay, but you're doing it. At least it's an interview. Like it's a product.
You might spend an hour talking about horse racing.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, come on, dude. Like, cool. Like, at least though, I know it's a professional product, and the problem is I want Pat's show to be good.
Yeah.
Like, I want it to be what it should be, but it just is an unrealistic ask because this is someone who's not doing the show to produce a pure and professional and really quality talk show product. You're doing the show because you have fun with it, because you're with your boys, and it just so happened that you guys have created moments that blew you up.
Yes.
And that's the difference.
Yeah, I think the cries are getting louder and louder. But if you're not going to fire Stephen A. for some of the stuff he said, are you really...
Well, no, but what's the difference between Pat and Stephen A?
Stephen A's black, and he can get away with saying inflammatory things.
And he's been doing it for 30 years. And he's got a track record, dude.
But that's the truth. Well, I don't know. I think Stephen A. Smith has said some really awful things. And I think that he has said some we're going down a rabbit hole now, but I think that if Stephen A. had said what Pat McAfee said yesterday,
yeah, he's probably getting canned.
He's probably getting fired.
Yeah.
I don't even know that it's arguable.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
There you have it. Tanner Plumer. Honestly, I'm shocked that Pat isn't getting canceled for this. There's a lot of voices. I mean, The Athletic had a huge piece on it.
TMZ ran with it.
TMZ had a story on it. Mike Smith. YouTube award looks bleached out. Dude, yeah, I saw that. It was actually hitting. The funny thing is, the way it was pointed, the light was hitting it. It was hitting my camera lens and hitting me in the face. So I turned it a minute ago.
Thank you.
But you're not wrong. Yeah. Alex Jones thinking the government is after him. So off brand.
Right.
So off brand. Eric and Raleigh, ESPN and Pat McAfee have come to a mutual decision to part ways effective immediately.
That's what I'm saying. So they're not firing him.
At some point.
They've decided it doesn't work. Like, that's at some point what we will get.
I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Without Alex Jones, we wouldn't know they are turning the freaking frogs gay. That comment alone is an American treasure. But that's the greatness of YouTube. Anybody can have a show.
Yeah.
Anybody can go on YouTube. And YouTube is going to restrict when you say things like that. YouTube's going to restrict your distribution.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you know that going into it. And I think it's why, bros, I had to send pictures of IDs. Like, I had to verify myself, like all this stuff.
Well, Monty, you're not Monty Python, are you?
You're to have
show.
A verified YouTube account. Like, I don't know how guys like Alex Jones do it. And I don't know what platform he's on. I truly do not know.
No idea.
But, yeah, I think it's more going where Jim Rome is gone. Where you're going to be, and not you guys are going to, well, you're just trying to self-aggrandize.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking to a radio group about doing a local show. And the first thing they asked was, well, the second thing, because they said, why do you guys curse so much? The second thing, well, you understand that we can't have you doing YouTube.
Yeah, no, duh.
Like that's the second thing they asked us about.
Right.
And and the reason that I think they call guys like us, because why on earth would you call us? Oh, because you don't have talent.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think the industry is suffering something terrible.
I think more and more people are that's why guys like Pat McAfee are massive. But Pat McAfee doesn't want to do radio. Notice, where is he not? He is not on Sirius anymore. Now, there was a bridge burn there probably, but he's not on Sirius. He's not on local radio. He's on YouTube.
Right.
He's on the ESPN app. That's where Pat's show lives. Jim Rome, still on the radio, but now where is his show more readily available? On X. And X is pushing him. Like when Jim Rome is on and you go into the search category, you're going to see him. But I think it's a very interesting juxtaposition now, how things have changed.
Yep.
James, stadium guy who loves Buc-ee's. Aren't we missing a big point? Carter could have hurt Caitlin Clark. Have you ever played basketball?
What are we doing?
Have you ever? She should never, in under any circumstance, have been suspended. Sorry to disappoint you.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark was not in danger on that play.
If she wanted to hurt her, that's not how she would have done it.
Yeah, you'd have caught her in midair if you wanted to hurt her. You'd have
pushed her from the back. You'd have gotten in her landing zone on a 3-pointer.
Yeah.
There are subtle ways to hurt people. Trust me. She was not trying to hurt her.
That was nothing more than trying to prove a point to say, yeah, we're going to beat you up tonight.
We're sending a message.
And we're not scared to let the world know we're doing that.
Because you guys aren't going to defend her.
Like, and again, I still think that's the bigger point in this whole thing, dude. Like, if the Carter play happened and then her teammates went and dropped Carter, we would have been saying, damn.
And we wouldn't have seen other hard fouls.
We would have been like, bro, like, Caitlin Clark has that team. They're tight. She's doing what she needs to do, and her teammates are there for her. This is awesome.
But understand, Caitlin Clark has to do this. She does not have an equal on her roster. She doesn't have a 50% on her roster. Having watched some of their games, she's clearly their best player.
Yeah.
Clearly. Look at the hard screen she took the other night, where she left the game, scored 2 points or 3 points, I think it was.
Basketball play.
Hard screen. You know what else is a basketball play? When you're about to get screened, somebody yells, left! So that you know on your left-hand side, there's a screen coming. Or on your right-hand side, there's a screen coming. Was that a dirty play too? It was not. Could she have more easily gotten hurt on that screen? Oh, wait, she did. She did get hurt on that screen. She did not get hurt on the Kennedy Carter play. You're being soft. You're being soft. James says Carter also called her the B word. She's a woman.
Right. And what they say on the court, it does not matter.
Are you kidding me? Like, how do you not? And James, I love you, dude. But this is what's wrong with women's sports in our country. You're completely off base on this. Kennedy Carter is not nearly the same as Pat McAfee. And Kennedy Carter saying that, now if she'd have called her the exact same phrase that Pat used, okay, that's probably a problem. But she didn't. She's a woman. She's a peer. She's an equal. And frankly, she's just as good a player right now as Caitlin Clark is. So I just, come on. Anthony Eason. It was a cheap shot. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't think it was dangerous, though. That's it.
No.
She was sending a message.
It's exactly what it was meant to be.
Yeah, and it worked.
Caitlin Clark deserves a better class of bully, and I'm going to give it to her.
And did you know who Kennedy Carter was before that foul?
Hell no.
Neither did I.
Hell no.
Right? And yeah. And so I don't know. I think it was Fox Sports. Somebody, you want to know where we are with the WNBA in this country? Does anybody know the name of the Chicago WNBA team? It is the Chicago Sky. Does anybody know the name of the Connecticut team? It is the Connecticut Sun. When that foul happened, and I believe it was Fox News, had it as Chicago Suns Kennedy Carter. And it was actually not Kennedy, it was Kennedy Carter. They got her team name wrong and they got her first name wrong. That's where we are. That's where we are. Was it a dirty play? Probably. But she was never in any danger.
And it's not nearly the dirtiest play we've ever seen or anything. Like, it's, come on.
K Nurin, it's still a cheap play no matter what. Yeah, true.
But that's what we're saying. Like, we're saying the same thing. Yes, it's a cheap shot. It was meant to be a cheap shot. That's
why it's a flagrant one,
dude. Yeah,
that's why it's a flagrant foul.
That's the whole point. Is that she rolled up to her in a non-basketball way and dropped her. That's the whole point of this whole thing, dude.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why this is, and this is the part that that bothers me, but just baffles me. Like, why is it so hard to understand what took place here? Like, again, it's not difficult.
Caitlin Clark in the WNBA amongst her peers is a nobody. She is an average ass player. And I'll continue to say Kennedy Carter is a more productive player right now. But Kennedy Carter is also not getting the 100% attention of the opponent's team. And I don't think it's any coincidence that Angel Reese is a teammate of Kennedy Carter, because Angel Reese doesn't give a damn about Caitlin Clark and still lives in her shadow. Did anybody see the hard foul on Angel Reese the other night? No, you didn't. It happened. Nobody's up in arms about that. This is the great Caitlin Clark. She's getting too much attention for having done absolutely nothing in this league.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing yet. Boston Mapes. Carter has a history of being an enforcer hockey goon with previous teams. It was slightly dirty play, but that was her job.
Facts. Yeah. Thank you.
And I just don't have a problem with it. Carter is not on Clark's level. I would look at the statistics because I think she is. Statistically, impactfully speaking, who's had more impact in this league, Caitlin Clark or Kennedy Carter? Well, based on our current situation and where we are on June 4th, I'm going to go ahead and say Kennedy Carter.
Yeah, and I think Carter saw an opportunity as well, by the way.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Nobody knew her before the outside of this league. The only reason you know Caitlin Clark is because of what she did in college, which, again, Pat McAfee, I know you're disappointed. She did not put Iowa women's basketball on the map.
Yeah, another just egregious mistake by Pat.
Pat said yesterday that she put Iowa basketball on the map. She did not. She did not. They have been a regular team in the tournament. So, Big Daddy Magic, hey, player, Angel Reese is on the sky. She's probably the best athlete in Chicago. Okay. Keep living in that world. UW fan Jim Romadunze. I guess I'm in the minority here. Follow the storm and have for years. There you go. K. The WNBA equals WWE.
Okay.
Eric and Raleigh. Clark is the WNBA's Steph Curry. Well, she needs to make threes.
I was going to say, the only problem is she hasn't won a championship. She hasn't made enough threes, and she doesn't lead her team yet. Like,
do you guys understand?
My God, dude.
Like, do you understand the level of performance that does not exist with Caitlin Clark right now? She's averaging 15.6 points a game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 steal. And she is shooting 29% from 3.
I thought you said 29%.
She's not an elite player. She is a garden variety WNBA player.
So 15-5 on 29% from 3.
I'd love to understand what people like. Why don't give her a free pass for what happens on the floor? She has to earn it. She's not, I don't know. I guess
people want her to be the Steph Curry of the WNBA. But you know what the difference is between Steph and Caitlin Clark? You didn't know who Steph Curry was when he came into the league. You had no idea. You had no clue. You weren't watching the Warriors during Steph's rookie season.
You understand she's barely top 20 in scoring. You understand that, right?
Man.
Agunbowale from Dallas averages 26 points a game. Asia Wilson from Las Vegas, 26.5 points a game. Kalia Cooper from Phoenix, 23 points a game. Let's go down the list a little bit. Kelsey Plum. Did you guys hear Darren Waller's going to retire?
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew that decision was coming at some point, like whether he was going to keep playing or not.
Kelsey Plum, 18.7 points a game. Brianna Stewart, 18 points a game. Diana Taurasi, 87-year-old Diana Taurasi, 17.8 points a game. Sabrina Ionescu, 17.2 points
Now,
a game.
the other thing that stands out between a lot of these names and Caitlin Clark is the folks on this list, most of them have great players on their team, and they're still getting this.
And they're on excellent teams, right? Phoenix, New York. But you look at the elite three-point shooters, Diana Taurasi averages 8.5 threes a game and shoots 41%. Caitlin Clark averages 8.5 threes a game and shoots 30%. So it's not like she's I wish we could just have like normal.
And she's not torching the league yet. I think she will at some point.
It's gonna happen.
But she's not, like, you got to give her time, man. Like, I'm telling you, this maturation process that she's going through is what every great player inevitably goes through in their rookie year. And if you're a great player coming into any professional league, whether you're a quarterback, a WNBA player, an NBA player, hell, a Major League Baseball player, right? Like you know what it is. You know that you're gonna take, what most people call is your licks, right? You're gonna get beat up. You're gonna lose.
You're gonna take your licks. Absolutely.
Yeah, like that's what it is.
And then there's Big Daddy Magic. If Victor wins a championship before Caitlin Clark, will you buy me a red Buffalo Bills logo T-shirt with long sleeves? Let's bet. Okay, Jake will take your bet.
No, I won't.
What is your obsession with a red Buffalo Bills long sleeve T-shirt?
Yeah, I agree. That's their best jersey, the red jersey. But
okay, I agree. Yeah, on ESPN, they're currently showing all the hard fouls, and Caitlin Clark's foul by Kennedy Carter is not very. It's not even a hard foul.
No,
it's not. Eric and Raleigh. Caitlin Clark needs her Draymond Green and Klay Thompson to realize her full potential. I
completely agree.
Yeah, she does not have anybody on that team. Noel Ramirez, remember when Angel Reese almost got choke slammed? I don't. Steph took Davidson deep in the NCAA tournament, and CBS covered him extensively during that run. They did.
Right. I'm saying Steph Curry was unknown coming into the league. Nobody knew who Steph Curry was coming into the league.
He did not get the run. Caitlin Clark, the difference is Caitlin Clark didn't get run during the NCAA tournament. She got run for the last 2 years at Iowa.
Yeah.
Because of how historically good she was. And I'm not saying she didn't earn that or anything. It wasn't just one NCAA tournament run. And Steph Curry's story was he was the runt. He was a small guy, and man, he can shoot from Poughkeepsie. And they followed him during the NCAA tournament. And I think a lot of it was his dad was Del Curry.
Right.
And then he came into the league. His ankles fell apart for like 10 years. And then Kevin Durant showed up and they won. Nobody wants to correct me on that? Anyway.
Nope.
Jake loves Kevin Durant.
Let's settle this right now.
My point is, Steph grew into a franchise caliber player.
Right.
He did not have nearly the hype that Caitlin Clark has.
By the way, I think she's going to grow into a franchise level player.
I do too. I do too. Chris E. Clark's game is chucking threes in no other bag. I totally disagree. Totally. And this is the Kennedy Clark argument. Oh, what does she do other than shoot threes? She's an excellent ball handler. She is an excellent passer, an elite passer. Her biggest weakness right now is she has to get a little bigger and stronger to fight through screens and defend better at this level. That's her biggest weakness. Her offensive game is not questioned.
Yeah.
She's got a handle. She can absolutely move without the ball. She's excellent off the ball. The problem is they have her on the ball so much because they don't have anybody else to ball handle. And I think the other thing that she's very good at is once she gets that front hip past you, it's over. She's going to the basket. And the idea that she only is a 3-point shooter, Chris, with all due respect, Kennedy,
you don't watch her.
with all due lack of respect, Kennedy Carter, you're not paying attention. Steph was a huge story at Davidson for one tournament run.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark has lived in the spotlight for about 2.5 years at Iowa, and now is starting to figure out, and she probably knows this, I would guess, the climb in professional basketball is much more difficult.
And dude, don't tell me that. Don't turn this into, we said that Steph wasn't a big deal at Davidson. What I'm saying is he wasn't a big deal in his rookie year. Nobody was like, oh my God, Steph Curry.
But he didn't, come on, dude. Okay. We're talking about a different era of basketball as well.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have the proliferation of TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Like, we didn't have the hype machine. Caitlin Clark did this at Iowa, one of the historically strong programs in women's college basketball. She did this under a national spotlight where the WNBA was not the women's basketball story. Caitlin Clark was singularly the women's basketball story. And it was for 2.5 years that we were watching her break records. We didn't get that kind of hype with Steph. She's not being hyped in the WNBA right now. She's a story for the wrong reason. Do we not embrace that? She's not a story because she's draining threes everywhere. She's a story because she's getting her ass handed to her. That's why she's a story. Now, again, I'm going to keep saying, I believe she'll develop into one of the elite players in the history of the league.
Right.
You cannot hold the greats down very long. But when you're playing on par with people like Kennedy Carter, when you're not top 20 in metrics in the WNBA, you should be anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
She's not, because of the hype that she had coming in this situation with Kennedy Carter. And now Angel Reese piling on top of that. K. Nurin, CC would be a better player on a better team. Well, yeah, of course. But part of being Steph Curry is making Klay Thompson better. Making guys around you better. That's the Victor Wembanyama story right now. He makes guys around him better on a terrible team. So let's see who they can attract to San Antonio. Or he won't be in San Antonio. So, I mean, Chrissy, Steph Curry has an all-around game, ball handle, midi, and a layup package. Now he does.
Yeah.
Now he does. She's forcing every three and bricking it, trying to show how far
she's just not, dude. Like, next comment.
I'm not trying to defend Caitlin Clark. She is not forcing anything. And she's not just shooting threes. If she was shooting threes only, guys, she's shooting 30%, 29.7% from three. She's not a good, she'd be averaging 6-7 points a game based on her volume. Like, she's doing far more than shooting threes. And if you haven't watched, Chris, and I'm guessing you haven't, she has a finishing package. She has a layup. She has all the tools in her bag. The problem is she's not physically big enough, and she's learning that. She is learning that. The WNBA has some big girls. Like, it's not like it's a guard league. The paint is not a nice place in the WNBA. If you're new to that league and you're figuring that out, it's a physical league. There's no doubt about it. Boston Mapes. Steph came into the NBA with foot issues that a lot of people questioned, and he took a couple of years to become a star. Clark doesn't have to be God on day one.
Agreed.
I don't think anybody's saying she does. Jeremiah Champion. RJ Seaman, because you asked? No. Okay. I don't know what he asked. We don't read his comments anymore. James, Clark is still growing up as a player. She will get better. I think she will. I knew who Stephen Curry was his rookie year, and I have picture proof. I'm not saying that people didn't know who he was. What is confusing about this Steph Curry thing? Steph Curry was an NCAA tournament darling who was the son of an NBA star, one of the best three-point shooters of his generation, and Del Curry. People knew who Steph Curry was, but you're living under a rock if you think that Caitlin Clark didn't get 50, 60, 100 times more coverage than Steph Curry got at Davidson. One, she didn't play at Davidson. She played at Iowa. Which, and again, Pat McAfee's completely wrong. Iowa, I think the number has been in the NCAA tournament 10 in the last 12 years, including an Elite Eight before she got there. So the idea that she made Iowa women's basketball, yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah, she made Iowa basketball while you were paying attention, apparently.
Yeah. She did not put Iowa basketball on the map in any way, shape, or form. Did she grow their Q factor? Certainly. Did she bring a lot more people to the arena? Certainly. She enhanced their visibility. She did not establish their program.
Exactly.
With only 14 teams, the WNBA, the talent is really condensed.
Yeah, you don't really get a night off because it's a smaller league. Every night you're playing good talent.
Eric and Raleigh, Andre Iguodala showed up and the Warriors won. They won before Kevin Durant, too, by the way. I was being a jerk about Jake and I have argued about that. The Indiana Fever need a solid two guard that can take some of the burden off of Clark's shoulders. Okay. Well, you are a WNBA consultant. We're not breaking down the WNBA. I've been watching the WNBA since Rebecca Lobo. Okay. You know. Cece is a great fast break passer. Her problem is her teammates have a hard time keeping up with her on the floor and aren't ready for the ball half the time. Just terrible. Yeah, because she doesn't. The Indiana Fever have Caitlin Clark because
they're Garbo.
You don't wind up with the number one pick unless you're Garbo.
Because it's garbage.
You don't end up with Connor Bedard on the Blackhawks unless you're Garbo.
Because it's garbage.
You don't end up with LeBron on the Cleveland Cavaliers unless the NBA fixes it so that you can have him. Like it's clear how.
So get your facts straight.
These things happen.
Hashtag journalism.
Yeah, cards in the refrigerator. Do you think the WNBA pulls a Jordan rule for Caitlin? I don't think so. And the inference is that the WNBA helped Caitlin Clark. Do you understand what the Jordan rules were? Because I think you wouldn't have phrased it this way.
I was going to say, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, Gary.
Yeah, I feel like you tried to backhand compliment or something. The Jordan rules were not from the NBA. The Jordan rules were from the Pistons. That if Mike broke the paint, he was going down.
Yeah.
Like, I love the guy. John Sally and I have had this. Bill Lambier came on my show, and we talked openly about this. Bill Lambier and I had one of the greatest discussions ever. Bill Lambier and I argued, the great Detroit Piston bully, enforcer. The Detroit Pistons made it a matter of business practice. If Michael Jordan got into the paint, there was going to be forearms and shoulders on him, not hands. Notice the difference. They were going to club him to the floor, and they did. And I said to Bill Lambier, do you regret making Michael Jordan the best player in the NBA? Because they did. They put him in the weight room. They made Tim Grover. They made all that happen.
Yes.
And Bill Lambier vehemently disagrees with me to this day that they made Michael Jordan. And I got news for you. They did. They absolutely did. There's no question about that. Eric and Raleigh, is this heaven? No, it's Iowa.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, the Warriors won multiple chips before KD arrived. Monty knows this.
It was a joke.
Balls.
Jesus,
I was breaking
dude.
balls.
It was a joke.
You guys,
oh my
fuck,
God.
Man. It was a joke.
Well, Monty, it's Jim. God. It's not Jim Rome. It's Roma Dunze. Okay.
You guys. Mike Smith. Okay, I'm ready for normal a-hole that comes in complaining the show only talks about college football. Where are you? Richard MacDeasy. Did I miss the real conversation about how these girls don't like Caitlin because she's not a black lesbian? Well, thank you for exposing yourself. Do you really think that they don't like her because she's not black and she's not a lesbian?
Dude, if that's the best you can come up with, you got work to do.
Or are you trying to pretend it's something else? See, again, you actually made our point.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all lesbians, bro. She's got a boyfriend and has for many years. How many? Do you guys remember during the NCAA tournament, Caitlin Clark boyfriend was trending on Twitter?
Yes.
You know. What might set a record today is the first showgram to have a full show about the WNBA. No, we've got to talk about Jake running a townhouse. This is the kind of impact I'm interested to see if Clark can maintain and grow the brand. I doubt it.
We're not really, but in all fairness to that comment, we're not really talking about like the WNBA.
Well, I gotta tell you, that fourth quarter of the Liberty Sun game the other night,
man, that play they ran, the zone coverage was really good.
I gotta tell you, the Tampa 2 defense that the Mohegan Suns are running.
Yeah, I mean, Angel Reese dropped into the slot and made the play. You know what I mean?
I love the way she stepped up into the pocket to deliver that free throw.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
We're not talking WNBA. Jordan excluded Isaiah Thomas from the Dream Team. This is correct.
Yeah, screw Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, dickbag. How'd that lawsuit with the Knicks work out? It's part of basketball. Dakota Tubbs, this stupid show only talks college football. It's nauseating. Thank you. Oh, my God.
So well done.
They love black lesbians that come into the league with the big expectations, but play like ass more. Yeah, I guess that's the story.
That must be it, dude. I mean, I don't know what else it could be. You know, who knows?
The WNBA has a lot of white players. It does. Mike Smith would like to thank Gary. OG Gary says, "Oh my God, you guys talk about college football. You know there are other sports, right?" That's all we do on this show.
Well, Monty, I want some cricket coverage. When are we getting it?
Yeah. Mike C. Rodriguez, still subsidized by the NBA. In fact, it is. Maybe Caitlin can help the league be independent from the NBA. Maybe they can fly charter most of the time. That'd be great. Big Blue Horses. Why does there have to be a racial component? Who started it? Is it fans, or media, or players? Well, I think when Pat McAfee calls her a white bee, and I think when Stephen A. Smith routinely and the media talk about the fact that Caitlin Clark is not a basketball player, but is a white basketball player, I think it's hard not to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I don't care if she's a lesbian or not, which for the record, she's not. Why? And this is the thing that makes me crazy. As men, we're so focused on, well, I wonder, dude, is she a lesbian? Like, who cares? Oh, wait, we're guys. All we do is sexualize women.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
My bad. Like, I don't care if she, you know, the Empire were the good guys. Okay. Cam Harrison says, shout out to Mo Bamba. Okay. Ferris,
shout out to Mo Bamba.
Thank you. Ferris Khan, pickleball is the future. Why don't you talk pickleball? Yeah, we do. Michigan football. We talk pickleball all the time.
Yeah. Northwestern Showers.
Yeah. You know, Ohio State wrestling.
Yeah.
Boston Mapes. Whoa. Tanner, who do you think you are? I am. Exactly right.
Yeah, we can get some bowling in here.
We're not talking Star Wars ever. That show sucks. Chrissy, current MVP in the NBA is white. Okay. What do you mean WNBA, Breanna Stewart? I think the MVP in the NBA is white. Did Nikola Jokic win the MVP?
Yeah.
European, does that count? Is that? I just want to know the rules. Like, you're European. Can you be white and European? Okay. I'm confused. My bad. Big Daddy Magic. Me and Victor never meet lesbians because, never around when we're okay.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Okay. Brandon Butler. How about them RSL? Well, I mean,
look, wow.
Real Salty Lakes are, I mean.
By the way, anyone see that new branding package that's allegedly coming out for the NHL team? My God.
I know that Ryan Smith, white. I know that Ryan. Well, I mean, stop. I'm just trying to follow the rules.
Look, we're just trying to fit in with today's theme. So we need to say, okay, all right, Ryan Smith,
white,
parentheses, white, has a terrible marketing team.
Am I the only one who finds it ironic? So if you guys don't know this, and I'm not going to pull it up because I don't want to vomit. Am I the only one who looks at the new Utah NHL logo and I say to myself, man, them were some shitty Jazz uniforms? Ryan, look, I understand. Clearly you don't know Photoshop because you'd have Photoshopped a hairline by now. But, okay, that was...
Wow, bro.
Like Ryan Smith's receding hairline is in the...
Okay. Show up.
No, your hairline does not show up.
Don't blink.
You'll miss it. But my point is that those uniforms for the Jazz, not good.
If you go on X and you go around Jazz Nation, people are like, yeah, they made it in Canva. Were these made in Canva? Like, it's not being received well, man. Like, anyway.
It's awful. The Utah hockey logo is, if you don't name it Yetis, I swear on all things.
It's such an easy thing. Well, we're going to have a whole list and everyone's going to vote because we do Qualtrics and that's what we do. So we're going to have a poll.
Nobody is voting for anything but Yeti. And it's cool you're doing a poll, but if somebody votes for the Utah canteens, it better
that is not an option.
It better be Yeti. If somebody votes for the Utah white guy hairlines, it better be Yeti.
That's right.
If somebody votes for, I don't know what, the Utah whoever's,
the Utah
salamanders, it better be Yeti. It better be Yeti. There's only one win here.
Make
bro.
Utah Yeti again.
It's the Utah Sasquatch. No, it's not Sasquatch. Fuck off. It's the Utah Yeti.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Yeti. And I swear to God, if you make it purple, I'll do nothing. It's the Utah Yeti. It's not hard.
You're cooking up a new brand for a hockey team. Don't fuck it up.
Utah. Hey, yo, bro, you want to go to the Jetty game? Yes.
It was at this moment that he knew.
It was Sasquatch. I'm telling you now. Sasquatch. The Utah Wasatch. Did you saw the Wasatch? What?
You know.
It better be Yeti.
Yeah. Anyway.
The Utah Mandalorians. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly right. Keith Carl. Nope. You're going to get something like the Utah Tigers or I swear to Christ, if it's the Valkyries, that is the stupidest. No.
Suckmyass.com.
Name it. It's if you go Valkyrie,
Don't fuck.
it's the Utah Yetis.
I want it.
Like, this is the problem with Ryan Smith.
We overcomplicate it.
This is the problem with Ryan Smith, comma, white guy, comma, is that you guys.
Such as in like.
I know this is crazy. I'm not a billionaire, but my advice to you is hire a fucking graphic designer. Hire a graphic designer.
Ain't ducking no smoke.
There's a firm downtown who will make you a great logo because I don't know what that thing you made for the Utah NHL team is. How, Ryan? How? Do you know, like, it's painful.
Anita, Dick, and Ming.
Like, it is so painful. How?
Yeah, the thing that I didn't understand with it is just like, it looks like a blue circle with black text. That's it. Like, there's nothing to it.
It's not, I know, like, it's much like the new Jazz uniforms. It's not creative.
Yeah.
It's not neat or new.
Because it's garbage.
And again, I want to say this because we always get calls. Well, hey, Monty, is it personal with Ryan or is it, what's the issue?
Ryan, white guy.
Yeah. Is it personal with Ryan, white guy, such as in like, no, it's not personal. Ryan's a good dude. He's a good human being. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. What I'm saying is that there needs to be a better creative department for Smith Entertainment Group.
And I say hire Boston Mapes, who says, honor the governor. It's the Utah Cox.
Stay hard.
I'm down for it.
Whoa. Utah Cox,
white guys.
Comma.
Guys. Hey, what's the name of that new Utah team? The Utah Cox, white guys.
Well, Monty, the Cox are coming to town. You want to go and see them?
And even how does Pat McAfee not get this right? Hey, Ryan Smith goes on his show again to release this logo, and Pat's like, "Oh, it's the Utah Soakers."
Like,
and Ryan Smith keeps going.
We show up
On the Pat McAfee show.
Again and again.
Richard McDonald. It's almost as dumb as Monty's political takes.
Oh.
LOL can't even accept the reality in front of him because it doesn't fit his worldview.
Oh, got it. Okay.
4 more years. Adam says Utah blows. Okay, don't move here, please.
Yeah, please save us the time.
Utah Avenging Angels. Utah Mountain Men. See what I mean? No. The answer is no. Stick to Buc-ee's. But it drives me crazy that we're gonna screw up an NHL franchise. Like it's right there in front of you, bro. Utah Yetis. You have a perfect mascot. Like you can do the Purple Mountain bullshit that we always wind up doing in Utah. Like you can do all that with the Yetis. I'm telling you, if Lumberjacks. Okay. That was another one. People like the Utah Lumberjacks.
Well, this is the Beehive State, so why don't we make it the Utah Stingers?
Stingers. I give up.
Yeah.
And I like Ryan Smith, and he, I'm not a billionaire.
Right.
I don't know that he is. I know I'm not. But we're giving you a taxpayer handout. Can you just get the name right?
Yeah,
don't
just
fuck
make
it
a
up.
Fire jersey, dude.
That's all I'm asking you for.
It's the best way to say it. Don't fuck it up.
And now I'm too old to wear jerseys, but don't fuck it up. Please.
Dude.
Yeah, this is not the Utah tax collectors, white guys. Exactly.
Fucking Cole Beasley.
Don't fuck it up. It's so easy. Just keep it simple.
Yes. What's the old saying? Keep it simple, stupid?
Yes.
Like, come on.
Yes. Sir Bob Love, Utah, my cousin Vinny's 2 Utes. The Utes. I just call it the Utah
just call
Utes.
Everything the Utes now.
Since most of Utah likes Donnie, name it the Utah Tangerine Twitter machine. So, God, why bring up Donnie?
Why, dude?
Why bring up Donnie? Yeah. Ryan Smith doesn't like Monty's show, so it definitely won't be Yeti. That's probably true.
I actually think it will be Yeti. I just think that there's,
Tangerine tits? Okay.
No, I don't think it's going to be that, dude. I could be wrong, though.
You're never too old to wear jerseys. Oh, please. Oh, please. I know I am not Ryan Smith, white guy, but I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
I think there is an age limit for jersey wearing. Hockey's different. You want to put on a Stan Mikita sweater, I'm down.
100%.
Wow.
Bro.
But I'm not wearing, you can't wear NBA jerseys. Once you're over 40, you can't do it.
Where'd the ticker go, bro? The ticker disappeared on us.
Yeah, I didn't make a ticker today.
Oh, okay.
Had to poop.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, you know what?
Because I'm all about the Aztecs, Glenn says, shout out to Judy Porter, whose basketball jersey was retired this year and hanging in the Ajas, a legend before her time in the WNBAs.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I apologize that we haven't honored Judith before now. Judy, white. Judy Porter. Let's look that up. Hang on.
Porter's
that name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you're like
straight out of the Sandlot. Dude.
Is Porter a first name or a last name?
I think it's what you're called if your last name is Porter. Like if you're Bob Porter, no one's calling you Bob. Everyone's calling you Porter.
I grew up with a Porter. She's African American. There you go.
Great.
See, I checked. If your name is Porter, if your first or last name is Porter, you're just Porter.
Yeah.
It's one of those uniquely. It's uniquely a first and a last and a middle name.
Yeah, it's just the name.
Yeah, like Porter Gustin.
Yeah, Porter. That's it. No one's calling you Gustin.
Like the kid I grew up with, this kid Drew Porter. He was Porter, and during baseball season, he was Ports. And then when baseball season was over, it was Porter.
Yeah,
just is what it is. But Porter's a strong name. You better have
put some respect on my name, boy.
Mike Smith says, "Whoa, Utah Cougars."
Oh, thanks, dude. Yep,
very original. Porter Wagner. I don't know who that is. Tell that to the 25 jerseys I no longer wear except to games.
Exactly.
Well, there you go. I'm kind of down with that.
Yeah.
Real quick, do you guys think Alex Jones is being canceled? We dabbled in this, but do you think he's being canceled?
I don't think he's being canceled. I think it's pretty straightforward bankruptcy proceeding. You got sued for all the wild, untrue, unfounded things you said. You lost that case, which means now you've got to pay a judgment.
Billions.
And you can't afford to do that. And so now you're filing bankruptcy. And as part of that process, you have to liquidate. You have to sell off your assets. And I'm sorry, dude, but your show is an asset. So he's not being canceled. Nobody's saying, oh, well, for no reason at all, we just don't like him, so we're going to turn him off.
$1.5 billion.
Like, do you understand? Like, that's like, you're never getting out from under that, bro.
What do you, bro, you're in court one day and they're like, okay, yeah, guilty. I think we're going to award $1.5 billion. You're never paying that back. That's the rest of your life.
Yeah.
$1 billion. So if you don't know the story, Alex Jones yesterday went on his, whatever it's called, InfoWars thing.
Yeah.
And talked about how he got a 2-week extension to keep his doors open. And that a judge is going to decide, and very likely will decide, that Alex Jones has to liquidate his broadcast empire, if you call it that, and sell off all of his equipment and his intellectual properties, and
right,
to pay this $1.5 billion judgment.
Oh, rough.
Really
rough.
How do you live knowing that you owe somebody $1.5 billion?
Well, and I think it's what's so interesting. Like, this is like right up the alley of kind of what happened with Tucker and like these guys who say these crazy things. And then
the guy is he is kind of, but for better or for worse, if you don't know Alex Jones, please don't go looking. But he had a moment. And then I think this settlement thing,
once you start saying things like the victims of Sandy Hook were crisis actors, you're in deep water, dude. You are in a bad place.
1.5. But my point is, what goes through your body when you hear them say $1.5 billion? With Donnie the other day, we were talking about this.
Another good example.
34 felonies, guilty across the board.
Now, I think for him, the difference is, so like with Alex Jones, like this is a financial judgment that's basically going to kneecap you. Like you're not coming back from this, like because it's a financial thing. With Donnie, I legit think that Donnie still believes he can win the election from a jail cell that he'll never see, or from whatever, some country club that he's
I don't think
he cares.
How did we get to a place in this country where 34 felonies aren't as bad as $1.5 billion?
Yeah, you know, and again, like I'm not really interested in discussing the merits of Donnie's case and getting into all that, but I think that it's a really good comparison. Like it's those moments where these really influential people, like really influential people, for better or for worse, in court, getting the hammer dropped on them, no matter what you think, that is what happened. And it's just a crazy moment.
I think that that's just wild to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane.
And then real quick, China went to the moon.
Right.
So did you guys see Danica Patrick yesterday, speaking of Alex Jones? Danica Patrick says she's convinced that we didn't go to the moon. And I just put this whole moon landing thing, I just put the same question to all of these people like, the moon landing didn't happen. Okay, then get in front of a telescope with a real scientist and let's show you the flag and the landing site on the fucking moon. How do you refute that?
Yeah.
China yesterday sends their rover to the moon,
mm-hmm.
the dark side of the moon, plants a Chinese flag picks up rocks, and then launches off the surface of the moon. Should we all be worried about that?
Worried how?
Moon, and it's the only country to ever go to the dark side.
Okay, so a couple of things. Number one, it's an unmanned craft, according to all reports.
It is. It's a rover. Yep.
So to me, we can send an unmanned craft to the moon. That's not some accomplishment. But I think that
we've been trying and we haven't.
I guess.
You don't think that's an accomplishment?
No, I don't. I think if it's an unmanned craft, it's not an accomplishment. I think when life is on the line and you got to take care of people and you're transporting humans to off our planet to the moon, that's an accomplishment. I think that we can now. We've had some shuttle issues or whatever, but like if the question was, do you think we could send a rover to the moon? Yes, I think tomorrow we could do that. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. Okay, but I think, speaking of Elon, I think with the technology that SpaceX has, you can't tell me that between that and NASA, we can't go to the moon right now.
I don't know. I think it's very interesting. I don't know the answer to that question, but I think what's interesting is that you have a nation the size and scope and scale of China beating you to the moon when we are absolutely trying to get to the moon. Let's not even let's not even try to front. I mean, they're going.
Yeah, for them, it's an accomplishment. I think that it's always great to say you went to the moon, like it is, but I don't know. When I saw this story, I wasn't like, wow, like this is like a security risk or like, something that we should be scared of per se. Now, I'm sure China's got all kinds of plans. I'm sure that they, have all kinds of schemes and things that they're going to try and do. But it's what I always say about our country. And I think it still rings true to this day. We are doing so many things like as a country on the global scale that if we would just put our effort and energy, even for a week, into one thing, we could do that thing. So like, that's when the reason I say that is because like, hey, if China went to the moon and the task was, hey, now you got to answer that. Yeah, we could answer that. I feel very, very confident we could answer that. And just like we can answer any type of threat or any type of issue. That's why I always say, like, when something comes up and our government is forced to like say, okay, we have to handle this thing, it gets handled. Yeah. So great for China, cool. But the reality is they're still well behind us. They're still
well, and again, as we talked about yesterday, we're not in a recession.
Yeah,
I hate the story we're being spun. China's got real economic problems.
A story. So I'm, yesterday on the show, for those of you who were here, we talked all about this real estate thing, right? And I'm looking at real estate trends last night, and there's this wave coming. You're going to see it pick up steam of the 0 down mortgage coming, and it's starting to get more and more. The point that you've been making for what, year and a half, at least, probably 2 years now, of we need affordable housing is now starting to be reported by the mainstream, right? Like I saw, and I always do this. I always try to get a variety of information from a variety of different perspectives. So CNN, Fox, MSNBC, and CNBC all had a story about how we need affordable housing, but the 0 down mortgage is coming to try to kickstart things. So I'm just telling you, we're not in a recession. We're in a bit of a bubble here, and we're trying to figure out how to maybe not pop that bubble, but get through it a little bit.
Yeah. I don't agree with Alex Jones at all. I do agree that we have free speech in America. What Alex Jones said is not covered by free speech. It's not. Instead of suing people, if you don't like it, change the channel. He did real damage to people.
Dude, James, bro, I'm just going to say
this.
You
know what he said?
We're not going to say. You need to go and do your homework.
Yeah.
On what he said about that situation and understand why he was being sued before you roll out into the comments section.
That's exactly Mike Smith. Freedom of speech is not covered by libel or slander.
Yeah, and James, I'm not trying to make it personal. It's not a dislike thing, but you're trudging into water that I think you have no idea about.
James, no recession, then why is gas almost $1? God, fuck. Are we really doing the gas price thing? Go look at where gas.
Man. See, this is the problem. Like
gas prices have nothing to do with the president. And B, if you go and look at where, I'm not even going to get into it. Go look where the gas problem started. Go look where the oil problem started. The gas price has nothing to do with the president. And the only way the president can impact gas prices is negatively. So go look at the gas prices and where they started.
And gas prices, in my opinion, don't reflect recession or not.
At all. At all. Any way, shape. Why do you think they're really not involved in anyway. Sir Babla. Moon landings were all filmed in an abandoned nickel mine in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. Okay,
cool, dude.
Cool. Has anyone seen what the best special effects that money could buy in 1969 and people think we faked the moon landing?
That's what I'm saying, dude.
You're going to need a good telescope, but you can literally go to any telescope. Go to Griffith Observatory. Go to any telescope you want. They can point it at the moon landing site. You can see the flag on the moon and you can see the remnants of the landing. And yet people, no, it never had. Okay. What India did with that space program with little resources is impressive.
See, now that I agree with. That is some good stuff. Like, no doubt.
Yeah, totally agree. Damian Fowler. Wow, how the hell can anybody have a problem with what he said? With what who said?
Yeah, with what who said.
How can anybody not have a problem with what he said? Yeah, I don't know, Damian. I don't know. Sir Boblop, truth is all gas prices. Truth is I said all gas prices. Yes, Sir Boblop is the one who says.
Right. Bob, we're going to need you to chop down this price a bit, bud.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, James, this is why it's important to do research before you say something serious. He said some pretty horrible things that hurt a lot of people. Damaged a lot of people.
Legitimately.
Damaged a lot of people. And do you know how hard it is to get a judgment for $1.5 billion? Come on, man. I am amazed that a story the size of the Alex Jones judgment, which was everywhere when it happened.
Yes.
Or how, I guess I shouldn't be amazed by this, how gas prices work, or the fact, there's this great story being told. And I've argued with everybody from my best friends to family members that we're in a recession. Well, here's the actual truth. We're not in a recession. Well, unemployment, historically low. But inflation, Monty, not high.
Monty?
Inflation's people are like, inflation is through the roof. It is? Well, that's funny because the indicators say that inflation is not through the roof.
No, you know what's through the roof? All the COVID period pricing is through the roof because people are greedy. That's what's through the roof.
And if you go look at the gas and oil policy of previous administrations, and then ask yourself, why are we in the gas price situation that we're in? Why are we in the food cost that we're in? And one of the major things, and I think guys like James, I need you to go and do some research, man. There's no reason for food prices to be where they are. Do you know why they are where they are? Because they've never come down since COVID. The price of eggs, the price of milk, the price of meat. I understand demand skyrocketed during COVID. Why are eggs so expensive? Because if you're a farmer and you were making X, do you want to go back to Y?
Nope.
And people are still paying the price for eggs.
So what is anyone going to do about it? Oh, that's right. We live in a capitalistic society, right? Where, hey, it's the price is what someone's willing to pay. So the only thing that can change pricing is consumer willingness. And I also point out, and again, go do your homework. Now we're starting to talk about, hey, how do we keep folks in the private sector from all these Wall Street hedge funds from buying up all this property and renting it back to America? People are starting to talk about that the government's going to have to step in and prevent that because we need, that's the issue, right? So you have all these forces driving up prices, greed. And there's no way to bring the prices back down. There's no check and balance to bring that back down. That's our problem. It's not It's not Joe Biden. It's not inflation. It's not like unemployment. It's that people are greedy and they want to make as much money as possible. And we're in a time where there's not really a way to fix that, which sucks. I mean, but that's the reality of it, man.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's very interesting. We'll see. Dakota Tubbs. Actually, the president can positively affect gas prices if they flood the domestic market with national strategic oil reserves, which I'm not going to get into it. Our president has done. So, but go look at the hows and whys of where the gas price is. Tanner Plummer. I feel like these days it's popular to say we didn't land on the moon. For those of you who missed it, Danica Patrick now is on the Aaron Rodgers train of we didn't land on the moon. You can get a telescope. You can see like the site of the landing. You can see the flag. You can see like where the rover drove on the face of the moon. You can see all that stuff. But no, we never landed on there. You know, how does Alex Jones still have a platform? I don't know. John Hamm, member for 6 months.
Oh, okay. Let me, all right, here we go.
There we go. Thank you, John. USA has a telescope that can see a couple of 100,000 years from the beginning of time. Don't be scared of China. I'm not scared of China, but it tells you that we are not, I don't know if competing is the right word. It's just very interesting that China, yeah. Facts. Gas prices were under $2 at multiple times under Obama. Facts.
That was also 10 years ago.
And I think a lot of people romanticize Obama. But you understand that, yeah, that was 10 years ago now.
Was that more than 10 years ago? When was his presidency?
Up until 2016. So you look at, let's go do some research.
So 2009 to 2017.
Go do some research.
Come on, dude.
You know. Sir Bob Lob. Jones directed his dimwit listeners to endlessly harass totally innocent people. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Gas prices are set by OPEC countries and greedy oil companies. Huge factor in it.
Yeah.
Huge factor in it. OPEC lowers supply so oil prices could to rise to make profit, which is where the strategic oil reserve and for the record, James says, I didn't like what Alex Jones said. No, but you said he has the right to say it. And I say he does have the right to say it, and they have the right to sue him and get their $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
Freedom is an amazing thing when you use it responsibly. So I refuse to watch his show. I watch Monty because he's right 95% of the time, except about Mike Gundy. Watch the good, turn off the bad. You cannot defend Alex. Look, bro, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
You said that he shouldn't have to go out of business. I agree he shouldn't have to go out of business, but he absolutely should have to pay $1.5 billion back.
So if he's got to go out of business to do that, then that's part of the deal.
And I think one of the more interesting things that was said yesterday on Fox was, well, if Alex Jones goes out of business, isn't he less capable of paying back that $1.5 million or $1.5 billion? To which I say, tough shit. Should have probably thought about that when you were wrecking people's lives.
Yeah, the problem with that point is that it's not about capability of paying it back. That lacks all context with bankruptcy. The whole point of bankruptcy is to pay everything you can now in every mean possible. So we're going to liquidate everything and get as much value out of your net worth as we can. And then you are going to work your ass off the rest of your life to pay this back.
$1.5 billion. Now companies are shrinking packaging again, same price, less product. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Corporations are greedy. Say it ain't so.
That's what I'm saying. This isn't inflation or unemployment or like all this other stuff. It is greed. That's it.
Yeah. OG Gary, prices are never going down. It isn't gas where there is flux in pricing. Once a price goes up, it's not coming back down. Hence why a gallon of milk went from 50 cents to $1 to $4. And hence why companies who figured out how to do a job that used to take 10 people and they figured out how they could do it with one, they're never bringing the other 9 back.
No.
It's not going to happen. Jeremiah Champion. people just want someone to blame on the other side, though. The problem with leadership is you get the blame when something goes wrong.
Yep.
Which is why I don't know why anybody ever wants to be president. I don't know. Utah Lumberjacks. Okay. Sir Bob Lob. Danica Patrick never really competed in a car race. I think that's true. I believe that was all CG. You know, I think it's really interesting that we have people that just don't. I don't even know how you say. You just have people that don't want the truth. They want their version of the truth. And anymore, we as Americans, our responsibility is to go and find the truth. It's out there. It's readily available. But we have to go and find it. And you have to understand that when we get into conspiracy theories, it's so easy to damage people. Never landed on the moon. Kennedy in the Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no conspiracy. There's no, like it is what it is. I romanticize about Obama, if you know what I mean. I've heard that about you. Fat Jesus. Boston Mapes, capitalism, God's way of determining who is smart and who is poor.
Right.
Truth. Mike Smith, the funny thing is you follow the supply and demand logic. You would think gas would have went way down during COVID, but nope, because it's not supply and demand. It is not supply and demand.
No, it's only profit taking. That's it.
Yeah. All right. So you're trying to rent a townhouse.
Mm-hmm.
How did that go? How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it went good. So last night, me and the girlfriend go over this new development about 5 minutes from where I live now. And it's nice. Now, when I went in there, I was expecting, that they would push a little bit. They would want to, put a lease together as quickly as possible. Like, I just assumed that that's what we were walking into because that's usually what it is. And to my surprise, that was not what it was at all. We walk in there. It's like, yeah, cool. What are you guys looking for? What are you interested in? We tell them. They're like, all right, cool. We've got this model here, that floor plan that we can walk through real quick. And so we walk through it. It's great. I have to say, for once, something lived up to it. It looked exactly how it looks online. It was bigger than I thought it would be. Like, all that was great. We get back to the leasing office and I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. Like, I think we're in agreement. We want to go ahead and take next steps. And I'm just assuming that we would be able to do that at the office. And this is the part I was really surprised by. We didn't do anything at the office.
Nope.
They sent us home and we're like, yeah, so go ahead and apply online and, we'll get back to you in a couple days. I was like, that's it? Like,
that's all?
There's no like, yeah, we want to go ahead and get you to apply today. We want to.
Because demand is through the roof. Yeah. They have multiple people applying for every unit.
Yeah.
So we were looking at this place online yesterday and Jake's like, oh yeah, there's not a lot of units. Like all of a sudden the demand is way up and the supply is not way up, which is why we're seeing a ton of apartment buildings going up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it was an interesting and eye-opening experience.
I was just surprised I obviously, like we've talked about, obviously I agree. Like there's a ton of people renting right now.
Yep.
But I just was more, I guess when I walked in there, I assumed because it was a nicer place and the rent was more and everything that maybe it would be a little bit more of a salesy experience just because it's not like just a one bedroom. Like it's, it's a townhome. It's a nicer place. Like, I would like, I guess I just was expecting them to be like, yeah, so like we, if you guys want to apply, we can go ahead and do that and we can get everything lined out right here.
I mean, if you guys feel like it.
You know what I mean? But they were just like it couldn't have been a more casual experience. It was like, yeah, so what floor plan are you guys looking at? Did you have an appointment to come in and tour? They're like, yeah, we got an appointment. This is the floor plan. All right, cool. Let's go walk around. And basically, like, we get in this golf cart, we drive out to the model, and then we walk through the model, explain everything, yada yada yada. And then we drive out to the unit that we would be living in. That's not finished yet. They're still finishing it. And it just was a very casual, like blasé experience. And I was like, all right, like, cool, I guess. I mean,
neat.
Like, yeah.
How did the significant other handle it?
She was thrilled. She loved it. She was all about it. Very impressed. Like the townhouse a lot. Felt really good about it. And we've been looking at these places for probably 3 weeks. We haven't both been home and had the time to go over there. So this was like the first day we had time to go over there. So we kind of knew what to expect as far as the house itself, but we just, it's always fun to go and like walk through it and see it.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay. Do you feel hopeless in your real estate efforts?
I feel hopeless that I'll be able to buy anytime soon. I think that, I don't, and again, I'm not interested in getting like with cars, man. I'm a car person. I'd love to buy a new car every 2 years, but I'm not interested in forcing a deal. I'm not interested in getting into this whole, it's like we talked about yesterday. Like, I don't want to force a 7% mortgage down my pocket. I don't want to get into like, just because I'm so desperate to have something. Like, I'd rather find a nice rental that I can be in for a couple of years and, enjoy and just go about what we're doing. I mean, that's kind of my view on it. Like, I'm not going to force getting into something until conditions are better. Like for you guys, and this is what I always point out, like if you're someone like Monty or anyone else who got in when rates were really low and were able to catch that timing, that's when I'd be forcing the issue. Like if it was, hey, 3% and really good terms, like, yeah, force it, get into that because you're going to be in it for a while.
This zero down mortgage thing.
Yeah, it's screwed, man. You're talking about, it's a first time home buyer program where basically you're taking out a $15,000 equity on your home to cover a down payment, and they're gift wrapping it as zero down to get into your mortgage. And the problem is that when you go to get out of that home, so like when you go to sell the home, you have to pay that back. So the moment that your home equity is less than what you owe on your mortgage, you're toast. Because not only then are you stuck in that position, so you're responsible for the payment. If you want to get out, you got to have enough equity to pay the 15 grand back.
Or you got to come out of pocket for 15 grand.
Which people doing a zero down don't have.
And a 30-year fix today is 7.8%.
Now, generally speaking, like historically speaking, that's not egregious. We've seen way higher than that. Like, that's not horrible, but it's not great. The problem is that everything else is really expensive. So if gas was $2 and everything else was reasonable, but this is what we had to work with, I think we'd be in a much better place in real estate.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see how it all plays. I just would not, I'm asking you nicely, don't do ARMs. Like adjustable rate mortgages, they call them ARMs. Don't do it.
Yes.
Don't do zero down. Well, you don't have to put, private mortgage insurance. We don't need that. This is not
a car loan, bro.
The problem is if you don't, you're always giving something. If you think that there's a zero down mortgage program or a no PMI program, you're paying a higher rate. That money's always going to be due. Banks don't give money without getting money.
Yeah.
And I just, this whole thing where you have to, like it's really popular right now to get your seller or your buyer to give you a credit at closing to pay down your rate on your next mortgage. Like, hey, I'm selling my house to go buy a new build. I'm going to sell my house. The person buying my house is going to pay me an extra 25 grand.
Right.
So that I can take that 25 grand and roll it into my next mortgage so I can lower my interest rate. The problem is, that sounds like a great deal. The problem is that then you have to refinance because they're going to raise your rate to market rate in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 1 year to refinance your mortgage. And it's like, why are we even doing it in the first place then?
Yeah.
We're right
doing
now
it because people want their home. That's why.
Right now, I just would not encourage you to buy a house right now. If you're not a homeowner, don't become a homeowner right now. You just can't do it. Welcome. Gary says, zero down mortgage. Welcome back to the great financial crisis. We're heading that way.
Yes.
We're heading that way. Mape says, so when does Mrs. Mini Monty start planning that 100 grand wedding?
Yeah, we won't. She's actually in the camp of like if she had it her way, she would just elope. She wouldn't even do anything. And I said, that does a complete injustice to everybody in your life. Like, it's not
that
fair.
Pisses people off.
Yeah, you can't do that, dude. That's not going to work.
That pisses people off.
So I don't think we're going to have some huge wedding. I think we'll be like, it's like we talked about yesterday. I told her multiple times, let's do a destination wedding. let people be on vacation for a week and our wedding be a part of that. Like, it doesn't have to be, it just doesn't have to be difficult. If people are on vacation there and you're renting up a property to do your wedding at, like, people are going to come, they're going to bring their booze, like, they're going to have a good time. Like, obviously you can have some open bar action, but like, just doesn't have to be this complicated, man. Just give people a good time.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard.
I think anytime you whisper the word wedding to somebody at a hotel, their price just went up.
Yeah.
You know, like it is, if it's me, I think if you're going to do a destination wedding, do you include the cost of the Airbnb and the airfare? I don't know. Do you? Okay. I think if you're going to do tables, chairs, DJ, stuff like that, you're going to spend $5-10 grand.
I honestly, like, again, I think if you're doing a destination wedding, like, part of it is I don't want like 300 people in my wedding.
No,
I don't. Like, and part of that, maybe I'm an asshole. That's part of why I want to do a destination wedding. Because if people got to pay their way and got to set that up, some people aren't going to be able to make it. And I'm okay with that. It's cool. It's all good.
I agree. Maury Alvarez says, I spent $1,000 on our wedding. It was so nice.
Yeah. Right?
It's amazing.
Like, you're not remembering. The worst thing you can do is get married and remember the bill, not the actual experience.
Yeah. The inflation on PXG is real. Need Monty and government to do something about that. PXG. I was just at the PXG store in Huntington Beach the other day.
Yeah.
Dude. That Black Ops driver from PXG.
It's legit.
I am a big fan of PXG. We talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. It needs to not rain today because I need to be ready to play up at Canyons this weekend. So I always tell you, Canyons Golf is the official golf course of the Monty Show.
Hey, Monty.
PXG is my preferred brand of club. They do not pay us. They do not advertise on the show. But I hit a PXG Black Ops driver on Saturday, and it is the fastest ball speed I've ever had. It was unbelievable. Telling you, the driver swing's coming along. It's coming along.
Yeah.
But yeah, when are we going to do a Monty golf event? When are you guys going to
We just need to start playing some rounds together, man. Like, I don't care how bad you are or what it is. Like, we're not.
Don't be a coward like OG Gary and refuse to golf with us.
Right now, I'm probably 85, 90. That's probably what I'm shooting right now. I'm not,
I'm in the 40s.
Right.
I'm shooting like a 45 on the for 18. And
yeah. So my point is, just trying to play with some new people, man. Like, who wants to play?
I'm not shooting a 45. I'm probably 80s, low 80s, high 70s, something like that. We'll see. But I'm going to be up at Canyons Resort in Park City this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. My tee time is 10 o'clock on Saturday and 9 o'clock on Sunday. Let's go. Who's coming up?
Yeah.
When are we going to play golf? Delaric, hello. Do what most of my family has done and go to the JP, Justice of the Peace, and then have a reception that night. You could absolutely do that. Do we all believe in marriage the way we used to?
I think a lot of people don't. I think a lot of people don't want to go through the hassle of it.
I think that's a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Very interesting conversation. Do you believe in the institution of marriage? I do. It was nice to see some people who had been married 50 years over the weekend at this wedding we were at. But sadly, I've been married 24 years, and I am one of the longest tenured marriages there. 23 years, I guess.
Yeah. You were like top 5, I think, weren't you?
Something like that. There you go. The Monty Show, as always, presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Find them online. You can chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365 live. Not AI, not bots. An injury attorney live online. It won't cost you a dime. Please take care on your motorcycle. Please be aware of motorcycles around you. Motorcycle accidents can be deadly. If you've been in one, make sure you get to theadvocates.com. Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Until tomorrow, say goodbye.
Goodbye, Jake.